Hello, everyone. Welcome to this. This is the Rodent Reading Hour. I'm Hedgehog.
And I'm Mice Man.
Yeah, you might know me from my YouTube channel. I do a lot of voice acting stuff, a lot of fan dubs and everything. I'm doing a full dub of Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartender Action, which is fun. And I also do a lot of writing, and I post a lot of writing to the channel. And the lovely man joining me is of course,
Mice Man 391. I also read things occasionally. I also write things that I read occasionally, although not nearly as famous as Hedgehog. Though if you are a deep cut fan of Hedgehog's channel, you will know my work, as I have written SCPs that have appeared on our channel.
Which we're gonna read at some point.
Which we're gonna read.
Next episode.
So, Hedgehog, would you like to tell our loving and loyal audience what we do on this podcast?
Yeah, so the Rodent Reading Hour is our new podcast in which we read really, really bad fan fiction. It's gonna be great. We're gonna make fun of really bad fan fiction and we're gonna laugh. But also keep in mind that I'm going to feel terrible about it the entire time.
I'm not. I look forward to it.
Because I was there, as you'll see, and I know.
So, yeah, we're going to be reading bad fan fictions. We're going to be starting with the more famous ones, most likely, and then working on to who knows how long this series will go on for, but we're going to definitely be starting with the big ones. I'm sure you all have that fan fiction in mind.
Oh, I'm sure everyone knows. First, however, we do have to read our own because,
for karma.
For karma's sake. And also because we do want to, this is going to be fun, but we also kind of want to, like, take it as writers and, like, analyze what the writers did wrong and what we can learn from it.
We want to show that we've been there. We're not just experts coming in. I mean, we're still not experts in any sense of the word.
No. Well, that's what these two episodes are going to prove, that we are also very bad.
So we will be reading Hedgehog's Zelda fanfiction and my cruddy SCPs. And if you don't know what SCPs are, we'll explain it when we get to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess I can introduce my fanfiction that we're going to read tonight.
Oh, please do.
So, I read part of this on my YouTube channel a couple of years ago. I think for the 1,000 subscribers special.
500 subscribers.
500.
Actually.
That's right. Thank you. You know my own channel better than I do.
I watched it not too long ago to prepare for this.
Fair enough. So, Mellon's Journey is a fanfiction I wrote when I was 12 years old.
It's beautiful, I'll tell you.
Yay. I'm not like, listen, this fanfiction, I have no shame about it. Like, listen, it was an important part of me becoming a writer, but that means that I'm glad I wrote it, but I'm still not happy it exists.
You can be proud of something that you're not proud of.
Yeah.
It's a representation of you growing.
That's right.
That being said, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, that being said, this fanfiction is a piece of garbage. So essentially what it is it is a fix-it fanfiction that takes place after Ocarina of Time. And because as a fanfiction, like, because I've been a writer since I was a very, very young child, so there's never really been a point in my life where I haven't had that perspective. So even when I was 12, I felt really strange about changing parts of canon.
Oh, God, yeah.
I always felt like I shouldn't do it because the author had already set in stone, hey, this is my intention. I felt weird changing it always.
And I think this is a big, I guess you would say, grievance for both of us. Yeah. Is the idea of people changing canon and not making it clear that they changed canon.
Yeah, if you're gonna do like a whole AU, that's one thing. But like when you just say, oh yeah, by the way, this happened, it's like, no, it didn't. No, it did not happen. That's not correct.
They're not like, this is my alternate universe. They're just like, and then Malon and Link got married, and that's what happened in the game. Clearly, I promise.
Yes. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so I always prided myself on writing fanfiction that I, was fit into the actual canon of the game. So, of course, I really shipped Link, the main character from Ocarina of Time, and all of the Zelda games, together with Malon, the ranch hand, because I could not relate to Zelda, because even back then I was a budding feminist and I thought that Zelda was just captured, and
you
I
leave
was
her
like, well,
alone.
that's lame.
She has a character now.
Well, that's lame. Well, back then she didn't, though.
No, but...
I was like, that's lame. I like Malon because she's spunky, which she wasn't in the game at all. I just read the manga by Akira Himikawa, who did all
there's a manga for... Which one is it again?
There's a manga for most of them.
Is this Ocarina of Time?
This is Ocarina of Time, yep. There's a manga for this one. This is the first one they did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a manga for most of Legend of Zelda.
And I call myself a Zelda fan.
I know. Well, yeah, it's pretty. I happened to just stumble across it on Barnes & Noble when I was a child. I was like, oh, well, this will tell me how to finish the game. And then it, of course, did not.
Did you read it backwards the first time?
Did I read it backwards? No,
Yeah.
I already had read some manga, so I kind of already knew what I was getting into. Mm. You can thank Tokyo Mew Mew for that.
Okay,
I did read Tokyo Mew Mew backwards. Yeah, I took a lot of Malon's characterization and my love of Mellon from the manga. And if anyone wondered out there why Mellon has such a big fan base for her doing like 2 things in the entire game, that's a big reason why, I think.
It's
I think
your
most
fanfiction.
Yeah. It was clearly my fanfiction. Clearly that's why everybody loves Mellon.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead,
but anyway,
tell them.
So, okay, I'm almost done. I wanted them to get together, obviously, because I related more to Malon than Zelda, and of course, you know, I had to get with Link because Link was my first ever love.
Well, as you said in your video, if you're a 12-year-old girl and you're playing Zelda, you're gonna have a crush on Link.
Oh, of course. Like, who wouldn't?
Who doesn't? I tell you.
Who doesn't? Those ears, man, they're sexy. It's the one thing I relate to with the author of My Inner Life. She really likes Link's ears. I do too. But don't take that out of context. God
we should really get started.
So anyway, this is takes place after Ocarina of Time. I really wanted them to get together, but I couldn't have them together because Link got sent back in time at the end of Ocarina of Time. So yeah, I had to be really convoluted in order to figure out how to get them together.
Hi, everyone. I'm Black Cat 8991. I know we agreed you would read this. I had to get it out.
Fine. You want to read the author's note? Go ahead and read the author's note, but I don't have to.
Let me get into my hedgehog voice.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Author's note. Hi, everyone. I'm Black Cat 8991! Exclamation point. This is my first fanfiction, and I hope you like it. I do not own The Legend of Zelda. If I did, Malon would replace Princess Zelda.
That's Malon, and
God!
Wow,
I'm sorry.
And I was such a fucking brat. Look at me. Like,
what do you mean?
Oh,
come on.
Malon is clearly superior to Princess Zelda.
She was your self-insert. You can't be mad.
I guess, yeah. All right. Anyway, here is the prologue, which is about 50 words long.
It's like 3 lines.
It's 3 lines. All right. Lightning flashed, and yet the boy sat on the fence alongside the dusty road.
How's the road dusty if it's raining? Immediate questions. First question. First sentence.
Shut up. In fact, the rain didn't seem to bother him in the slightest. Because it's very dramatic that way.
Yes. Well, he's got the hood on.
Oh, of course. A figure appeared. At first, this figure was only a dot. But as it got closer, it was revealed to be wearing a cloak that obscured It-Is face.
Oh, yeah, you used the wrong
I used the wrong It's.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't translate well in audio, but it is the wrong It's.
Yeah. The boy climbed down from the fence and walked straight up to the figure. I've kept up my end of the bargain. Now tell me who you are. Now tell me who you are and why you're so interested in the Tetraforce.
But Hedgehog,
please allow me to explain.
Tetraforce?
So
that's not what it's called.
Another thing I really liked to do in my fanfictions was include common Zelda theories, and one major theory at the time was that there was actually a 4th piece of the Triforce, making it the Tetraforce.
In the middle.
This was later kind of confirmed in a way, because there's a 4th goddess now named Hylia.
Isn't she like the big one, though?
Yeah, but like it's not explained how she fits into the other 3, and she's kind of replaced them at this point, but like...
Well,
I
always assumed she was sort of like like the other ones are like more minor, and she's like the big boy, as it were.
I guess it's weird how she's not mentioned until Skyward Sword, though.
Oh, they didn't know. They didn't know about her.
They didn't know. So the Tetraforces, there's 4 pieces of the Triforce. One is in the middle, and I was like, well, gee, there's an extra piece of the Triforce. I'm gonna give it to Malon.
Oh, is that what happens?
So yeah,
I have not read all the way through this. I'm gonna be real.
I did not finish this story, but once I get to the end, I will explain where the story was going.
Okay.
But okay. My name, the figure said, is unknown by many in that legendary event in which the Tetra Force was held in the balance, where the hero defeated the monster.
You don't like the use of the word monster there, huh?
No, I just don't like the use of the really fucking dramatic language. Holy shit.
This is referencing the events of Ocarina of Time, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
It was pretty dramatic.
It's dramatic, but it's not like this. All right, anyway. But I played an important role, for I held the love of that hero and have kept it safe to this day. God, I can hardly fucking say this.
But now the hero is gone.
My name is Malon, and I will find the hero of time.
End chapter.
End chapter. Also, you guys can't see it, but can I just say, at this point in my life, I did not know that the periods go inside the quotation marks.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything. You also got a comma outside of it, but...
Yeah, when I wrote my novel, actually, The One, the one I'm still trying to get published, I did it the same way.
Ooh.
So when I edited it, I had to go back and change every single one.
Oh, God. At least you, did you send it out with it still having that error?
No, I edited it way before that happened.
When I send something out to be reviewed, and then I realized looking over it posthumously that there's errors in it. I'm like, no.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, chapter 1.
Shall I read the author's note?
Please do.
Author's note. So yeah, in case you didn't pick it up, that was the prologue. This is chapter 1.
This is prologue.
We're 11 minutes in. We've only read the prologue.
Yay.
Author's note. Hello again, BlackCat8991 here. If you're still reading, I guess that means you enjoyed my story. Yay! Keep reading and don't send good reviews. I love critique. Spelled L-U-V.
I was trying to be anti My Immortal by going, hey, send me all your critique. I don't want to be complimented.
You still want good reviews. You just want the good reviews to have constructive criticism in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
So
okay,
you want to start?
Chapter 1 month earlier. Keep in mind that when we catch up to where this was, it's only been a week. I did not time this out very well. All right. The news had traveled quite quickly in Hyrule that the Sorcerer King was dead, and Ganondorf's reign of terror was over. Everywhere, the people were throwing parties and having a grand old time. Lon Lon Ranch was no exception. All of Talon's relatives were there, and even Ingo was wearing a smile. But that might have been from all the Lon Lon milk he'd been drinking.
Oh,
yes, I know Lon Lon milk is an alcohol reference.
Whenever somebody says Lon Lon milk, I think of the blue milk that Luke Skywalker drank in the new Star Wars movies.
No,
I'm getting drunk on that.
Oh. Yes, everyone was happy. Everyone, that is, except Malon. Dun dun dun. Oh God! I could just see her just fainting on a couch.
Her 3D modeled beautiful textures.
Her horrible fucking triangle boobs. All right. To her, the air had an empty quality to it, and she knew why. When Princess Zelda had returned to the throne, she had told the tale of the hero of time's brave deeds in defeating the Sorcerer King. However, she gave no hint as to where the hero was now. In fact, when Malon had asked that very question to the princess when she's announcing this to everyone in public, sure, the princess had averted her eyes and quickly started talking about how everyone could do their, that's T-H-E-R-E, their part to help rebuild Hyrule.
So the way this works, right, is Zelda is in a public space giving a speech.
Yeah.
And Malon shouts out the question to her.
Malon just fucking raises her hand and shouts it out.
I don't think this is absurd. I could see this happening in a movie. But what gets me is she averts her eyes and then starts talking about something else.
I don't, just completely ignores the question.
And nobody else apparently cares. Only Malon.
Only Malon cares about where the fuck the hero of time is.
Hey, the guy who just saved all our lives and messed the time stream up? Where'd he go? We gotta rebuild Hyrule.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Yup. Malon knew one thing. She could feel it in her bones. Link, The hero of time
The high rule
was
of time.
the high rule of time. Link, the hero of time, was gone. Not dead, just gone. It was like he had never existed. I have no idea how she could feel all of that in her bones.
In her bones,
okay.
man. It's like how you can feel radioactivity in your bones.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, it hurts.
Why did this bother Malon? It did because she loved Link.
Aww.
Malon remembered how Link had saved her when the ranch was taken over by Gerudo thieves. So this is another thing. So this is a thing that happened in the manga. I reference things that happened in the manga like everyone should know they were there. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
I mean, what kind of idiot wouldn't even know the manga existed?
I know, right? I'm like what kind of idiot? Like someone else here with me.
Better keep reading.
She could fell Link's strong arms around her as they hook-shotted, which only has one T.
Hook-shotted
to the top of the barn. Talon's words broke into her thoughts. Come and join the fun, Malon.
I can only think of the line from Undertale when I see that one.
Oh, yeah.
Come and join the fun, Malon.
Oh, God, yeah. No, thanks. Malon was sitting on the fence, petting Epona. I'm okay. Talon shrugged and walked away. Malon sighed. She was remembering when the Gerudo thieves had fled and Ingo was lying on the ground, moaning. Why is he moaning? Link had saddled up Epona. You're leaving? Malon had asked.
No period.
Yes. Yeah, no period. Yes. Malon was still blushing from the kiss they had shared on the rooftop.
How long ago was that kiss? I don't know the timeline too well.
So from when the actual story is taking place, this was about halfway through Link's adventure. From what she's remembering, right, the conversation she's having with him in the flashback, it was like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, if it was like an hour ago, I'd be like, that's a long time.
No, it was like 2 minutes ago. I wish you would stay. I would, but I have to find Zelda. Oh. This made Malon blush even fiercer. Malon? Yes. I want you to have this. Link took off his cloak and handed it to Malon because he has a cloak, which
it'll
never
make you
happened
invisible.
He's got it.
If you put it on. You can use it to sneak into Hogwarts.
It's a magical cloak.
My father gave it to me.
Yeah. His father gave it to him. All right. The cloak? The cloak! Malon's mind had just formed a plan. She's gonna fucking find Link just because she thought of a damn cloak
yeah,
he
with
gave
this
her.
Cloak.
I don't know, man. If no one would tell her where Link was, she would just have to find out herself. She jumped off the fence and dashed to the house. She ran to the bedroom and pulled a dust-covered chest out from under her bed. Malon coughed, but somehow managed to open the lid and dive in.
Was it difficult to open the lid? If she somehow managed to open it?
I think what I meant was through the dust from her coughing.
Oh.
She managed to open the lid.
I mean, how old is Mellon in this scenario?
7.
11?
I mean,
I could see an 11-year-old doing this.
No, she's like 17 now.
That's a bit different. But still, 17-year-olds, they make impulsive decisions all the time.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what being a teenager is all about, making impulsive decisions. Mm-hmm. Unless you were me. I never did anything impulsive as a teenager.
We were losers in high school.
We were losers.
That's why but look at us now, recording a podcast about
that no one will
writing.
listen to. Yeah!
Let's keep going.
Oh, yeah. The chest was mostly full of her mother's things, but at the bottom, Malon had gently placed Link's cloak under a pile of sheet music. Malon used to pore over the sheet music, hoping she could somehow decipher it. I can't read music. I know how to sing a Epona song, but I can't. How do I read? Now she shoved it aside to get at the cloak. Just fuck you, Mom.
Just get out of here, Mom. You gotta go after a boy.
Oh, yeah. Malon threw the cloak over her shoulder, then heard the clink of metal against the floor. Looking down, she saw a sheathed knife had fallen out of Link's cloak's pocket. Cloaks have pockets?
Link's cloak's pocket.
What a wonderful
It's an interesting way of saying that.
Oh, yeah. Malon tucked the knife in her belt and ran outside. Hurriedly, she saddled up Epona, pulled the cloak's hood over her face, and jumped on Epona. Thank you for saying Epona twice in one
There's
sentence.
a lot of Eponas.
That's a lot of Eponas. Yeah! She called to get Epona moving. The party guests... What?
Who's going? What's the name of the horse? I forgot.
Epona. Epona's the horse.
Okay. The party guests...
The party guests heard her coming and quickly got out of the way to let her pass. Epona's hoofs thumped loudly as she gained speed.
Hoofs.
Just a little further, and she would clear the fence.
End chapter.
End chapter. That's the end of chapter 1. Just
So,
suddenly and without warning.
Not a long chapter, but longer.
Yes, they're all about that length until the 4th chapter, which is like twice as long as the others for some reason.
I thought this was a decent chapter. There wasn't too much going on, but you established our heroines.
I at least listen. This fanfiction is bad, but not for the reasons that most bad fanfiction is bad. Like the basics are there. I'm just really fucking over dramatic.
I don't think it's that. I think you're being too hard on yourself, to be honest, Hedgehog. I think it's okay. Like, obviously, it's no Shakespeare, but for how old are you? Like a 12?
Yeah, for being a 12-year-old, this is a very good story.
This is pretty good.
But for me now, this is.
Alright, oh, sorry, go ahead.
One second. I have one more thing to say. So I used a lot of the ideas I had from all the Legend of Zelda fanfiction I wrote, some published, some not, to write my novel Theone, because Theone is basically Legend of Zelda for adults.
Fun fact, if you rearrange Theone, it spells Zelda.
It does. but so it's really weird reading this back after spending so much time with that novel, because I do this dynamic so much better in
What,
the
just
novel.
the essential girl going after guy?
Well, the fact that, because I have a character named Effany who is just kind of Malon.
Like a Malone?
Kind of Malon.
Or
Yeah.
Malon? Sorry.
She's just kind of Malon. She's a ranch girl too.
I mean, I think it's okay to take inspiration.
Listen. There's all my own twists. It's all original, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have the same dynamic between the hero of that portion of the book and this character, and I do it so much better there than I did here.
Well, that's progression. Anyway. Looking back on this, you can see, look how much I've grown.
Somebody will listen to this after Theone's published, and they'll go, "Holy shit, she just rewrote her old fanfiction."
Well, that's just 50 Shades of Grey, isn't it?
I mean, yes.
Which we might be covering on this.
Anyway,
right,
feel free to read the author's note.
Or should I read chapter 3 so you can get a rest?
Oh, I can keep reading. It's totally good.
Okay, so yeah, this is chapter 3 for fanfiction.net, but in terms of actual story, it's chapter 2. Author's note. Thank you for reading. We are now in bold. We did not used to be in bold for the author's note.
Yeah, we were in bold for the prologue. We were not in bold for chapter 1, and then we were in bold for chapter 2. Right. The reason for that, I believe, though, is at the time fanfiction.net did not have, like, you couldn't, like, paste a story in and have it keep the format that it was in.
I don't think it still does that.
I think it does now, if I remember correctly. I think it does now.
Someone look that up and email it to www.rodentreading.com. Don't do that. That's not a website we own.
No, it's not. So because I think I forgot to go back in and do it for that chapter.
Okay. So I shall read the prologue now, and rather the prologue, I mean the author's note, of course.
Well done.
Thank you for reading. I love you all. LUV. After I greet all of you, I don't quite know what to say. I can't keep saying thank you for reading. I'll think about that one.
I felt obligated to include an author's note, even though I had nothing to say.
After I greet all of you, I don't quite know what to say. It should have been greeted.
Well, because after I greet all of you...
You switch tenses.
Thank you for reading. I love all you. After I greet you all, I don't quite know what to say. No, it'd be after I greeted you all, I didn't quite know what to say if it's past tense. That's both present tense.
Oh, I guess. It's still an awkward sentence.
It's a very awkward sentence. Yeah.
Who am I to judge, I suppose? Oh, wait.
All right.
That's what we do on this podcast.
Chapter 2, Castletown. So keep in mind, half of these chapters are labeled with little subtitles like Castletown or like 1 month earlier, and half of them are not. So, yeah.
Consistency.
All right. Epona jumped the fence and they swept across Hyrule Field. Malon looking back and Epona jumped the fence, and as they swept across Hyrule Field, Malon looked back and shed a tear. She felt horrible for abandoning her father, Talon, like this. But she would come back, right?
right? Ooh, foreshadowing. I like it.
Ooh, she does. Malon decided that if she wanted some answers, she'd have to go to the source in Castletown. The journey to Castletown would take about a day's worth of travel. The sun was already low in the sky. Just getting there would take all night. ... No change, no indication to indicate that time has passed. It just continues. As the first cuckoo crowed, Malon saw the distant outline of Castletown.
No, the ... was the change in time.
It's not very good, though. Usually you'd have, like, another line that has, like, a ... there.
Just
so,
read
like,
that ... for a really long time.
There
and
you
like,
go.
in real life, it takes a long time.
Just focus on it. Okay. She yawned, stretched, and looked around. She had been sleeping in the saddle, a useful skill Talon had taught her at a young age. The drawbridge to the town and palace beyond had just thumped to the ground as Malon tied up Epona. Malon was cautious. She was never in town much, but proceeded onward. I don't know why she's cautious. It's the fucking Castletown.
It's, big town, country gal. You never know.
Enough. It's not that big in game. I don't know. It looked like she had stumbled upon one of the more busy days at the market. Everywhere people were rushing to get at the best goods, and vendors were shouting out their products. Their products, right? Wrong there. It was all very noisy. The smell of freshly baked bread wafted under Malon's nose. Her stomach growled, and she realized that she hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. She pulled out one of the few rubies. It's rubies! But I didn't realize
what
they
is this,
were rupees.
The CDI games?
Yeah! Well, because I didn't really quite know. At that age, I didn't really quite know. Oh, yeah, I can just look shit up on the internet if I don't know what it is. Because I was like 12.
For anyone who doesn't know Zelda too well, they don't, in the game, the currency used is not rubies. It's rupees with a P.
Which is spelled like the Indian currency, rupees. But I say rubies.
It's okay.
Here.
This takes place in an alternate universe.
Oh, where they have rubies.
Well, I was just gonna say where the CDI makers made Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah, that's a bad accurate, honestly. All right. She pulled out one of the few rubies she had and followed her nose. Malon had to shove her way through quite a bit of meandering people to get some bread. She was shocked when she read the price sign. 5 rubies for a bun? That's ridiculous, she thought. But food was food, so Malon paid the vendor and found a quiet spot to eat. She remembered coming here with her father on that fateful day when she first met Link. Talon had a big wagon which he used to haul goods to the market, mostly milk. Today, they had a special order from the castle. 10 dozen bottles of milk. That's a lot of fucking milk.
That's a lot of milk. Well, in this universe, remember, milk is a replacement for alcohol.
Ah, shit, you're right. It's a big party there. Talon needed help hauling the milk to the castle, so Malon went with him. Malon had been in awe with the market. She had never been to a market and gazed with wide eyes at everything they saw. Eventually, Talon left her in front of the castle to guard the rest of the boxes while he took some in. After a few hours, Malon knew that Talon had fallen asleep.
So,
then
I might be a moron here, but is this taking place in the past?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, right. She remembered, right. Sorry, it's
but
just
I'm
you
not
didn't,
very good.
Well, you didn't change the way paragraphs worked at all. And so there's no real indication that we were in the past other than her saying she remembered.
Not at all. I do this a lot in my writing back then, especially with fanfiction.
It can be difficult conveying when and how a flashback starts and ends.
Yeah. Then the boy came. He was pushed around by the guard at the gate. Malon felt kind of sorry for him. "What are you doing?" The boy was walking gloomily back to them. This is Malon talking, but then I immediately qualify that with the boy was walking gloomily back to the market.
Does, the way it's arranged, does make it sound like the boy said, "What are you doing?"
Yes. He looked up. "I was trying to get to the castle to see the princess. I have a special mission to see her." Malon giggled. "Well, you'll never get in that way. Tell you what, my father is sleeping somewhere in there. If you promise to find him, I'll show you a secret way into the castle." Malon had found this secret way about an hour into her father leaving.
Wow, it took a little girl an hour to find a way.
Right? To find a way past the guards. I mean, to be fair, it's a little ridiculous in the game as well, but yeah.
Not very good security, all I'm gonna say.
No. No wonder Ganondorf fucking took over the whole land.
Rolled in.
He just climbed up these vines and just walked right above the gate. Just rolled right into town.
The guards are like, "Can you guys hear something?" No.
No, it's fine. All right. Malon giggled. Oh, no, sorry about that, Ray. Present-day Malon had just finished her bun and had stood up. If she was going to see the princess, she'd better hurry.
So what, she was reminiscing this whole time?
Yes, she was eating her bread and reminiscing.
Okay.
She ran up the path to the gate. About 50 feet from the gate, Malon found some vines and climbed up the sheer rock face. And after all of this, they still haven't increased security.
It's like 3 or 4 people have broken into the castle this way.
Even in the game, they increase security. You can't get back in after you leave because they place impossible to get past guards. At the top, she walked atop the gate and found a hole with a ladder. She climbed down and ran on. Malon kept away from the guards and managed to sneak into the princess's garden. This could have been a very exciting scene, but I just skipped right past it. Princess Zelda? Asked Malon.
No, period.
Welcome, Malon. I've been expecting you.
And then quotation mark, then ...
Yes.
It's outside of the quotation.
It's outside of the quotation. It's the end of the chapter. You gotta have dots at the end of the chapter.
Well, so I guess the way this happens is she says, welcome, Malon, I've been expecting you. Then she just ends her sentence and they both stand there awkwardly.
They just stare at each other, T-pose.
T-posing. There's like a soft hum in the background as they collide with the game objects.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of chapter 2.
That's the end of chapter 2.
Chapter 3. Here we go.
This is a long one, boys and girls.
This is a long one, and it's all exposition, and it's all really dumb exposition. Because you'll realize as I read this chapter that I had to find a way for Malon to bring Link back.
Oh right.
So
easy, just time travel, right?
But the only way that anyone has time traveled is via the sword, which is now locked behind the door of time again. So I had to find a really weird, convoluted, made-up way to get back to the exact timeline that Link is in now.
We gotta get out of the CDI hell. Get back to the rupees.
This is just the CDI hell.
All right, I will read the author's note now. Now we say author's note.
Yes.
So this one prefaced with author's note. The previous one did not. But we are in bold again. Mm-hmm. Author's note. Black Cat 8991 here. Welcome everyone to the 3rd chapter of Malon's journey. I have nothing more to say. ... Still thinking of something interesting to say. ...
I'm trying to be quirky.
Oh, you're being all cutesy.
It's not working.
What was the do you remember what like the length of time between publishing the last chapter and publishing this one was?
I think I did about it was either a week or it was a couple of days. I think I did a chapter every other day for about a week.
You thought about it for a whole day and you still couldn't come up with something interesting to say, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you get started on the chapter? I'm sorry. I'll stop making fun of you.
Don't worry, make fun of me all you want. All right, chapter 3. The princess turned away from the window in the courtyard to smirk at an abashed and gaping girl. I don't really have a lot of sympathy for Zelda.
You really paint Zelda in kind of a negative light here.
Well, I have some self-awareness. I know I shouldn't make her out to be a total bitch, so she's not a total bitch. But you can tell I have less sympathy for Zelda than I do for Malon.
Yeah, the word smirk never comes across as kind to me.
No, it does not. Unless I'm doing it, then it's very kind. All I do is smirk at people.
Well, when you smirk, you do it with love.
Yes, always with love. How did you know my name? Malon gasped. Link always talked quite a bit about you. Of course he did.
Obviously.
Of course he did. Oh, well, Zelda, I've come here because I know what you're...
Sorry, quotation mark, then dash outside
then
the quotation mark.
Outside
they both T-posed again.
Yes. They both just T-posed again. I know why you've come here, Zelda said, amused. You've come here to learn where Link is. But how? Again,
quotation mark, then dash mark, yeah.
More T-posing. I figured you'd come sooner or later, after you asked me about it at the crowning. We were not previously aware it was a crowning. I mean, we said Zelda took the throne, but we did not say that it was at the crowning that she asked her.
Oh, wait, I thought it was like a public speech she was giving. Yeah, you didn't say it was a crowning.
No, I didn't say it was a crowning, because
if someone did not have the insider knowledge that you had, they would just think that Malon asked twice, I guess?
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, to be fair, Zelda did avoid answering the first time, so maybe Malon's
probably had to answer the second.
Yeah, really persistent.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well then, where is he? I sent him back. Malon was confused. Back? To relive his childhood, Zelda finished, no period. Then I can't, more T-posing.
And in the previous, I sent him back, and then Malon was confused back. You have it, so I sent him back has a quotation mark and then a period, but when Malon says back, the question mark is inside the quotation.
Yes, I always put the question marks and the exclamation marks inside the quotations, but
can you tell me why the period was excluded from the party?
Well, the period and the comma are outside because at the time I thought that's how you were supposed to do it because it's the actual end of the sentence. Whereas the question mark and the exclamation mark were part of the actual dialogue.
A very common mistake to make.
Yes. So that is why I did it that way.
Oh, but look at this. The next line, you have the period inside the quotation mark.
Well,
so maybe you're just full of garbage.
I could just be full of garbage. Yeah, I started doing it after this point, actually. Kind of, a couple
in the middle of writing this chapter, Hedgehog came to the realization.
Yay, me. Okay. Then I can't get him back? The princess chuckled. You can try. This sparked an idea. Maybe Mellon could try to get him back.
And then no space, but then so word back, quotation mark, how?
How? I'll do anything. Anything? The princess's smirk intensified.
It's horrifying.
Yes! I know, right? Good, because the journey ahead of you is very dangerous and long. You must find the entrance to Termina, and the only person who could find the entrance, comma, is the holder of the hidden piece of the Tetraphores.
Hey, I can't judge you on overusing commas. I love commas.
I do too.
I use
commas
them
are my favorite
way
thing.
too often.
Commas are my favorite thing in the world. All right, Tetraphores? That story is for another time. We have all the time in the world, but I'm not going to tell you right now.
It's not like we have an ability to time travel, Malon, okay?
Okay, listen, we can't tell you now because the plot demands I don't tell you now. All right.
We seem to also have abandoned naming who's saying what.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes, we have. We have, because I couldn't think of anything for them to actually do. That story's for another time. As I was saying, you must find this bearer of the fourth piece. The only way to find this person is to travel to the sacred realm. But the only entrance is behind the door of time. Malon, your sources aren't the most reliable. Zelda chuckled again.
I'm a 17-year-old farm girl.
I know, right?
Jerk.
I know. Jeez, Zelda, fucking shut up.
Managed to sneak into your castle. You can have a bit more respect.
Malon frowned. This self-centered princess was making fun of her. Oh, and what do your sources say? Malon asked, putting her hands in her hips. My sources, the princess pointed at herself innocently. My sources say there is another entrance to the sacred realm. Of course there fucking is. Where? Not with a question mark, but with an exclamation mark.
Well, she's demanding.
Where?
Yeah, where?
In the Shadow Temple, because I loved horror, and yay.
Shadow Temple,
Shadow Temple.
Pretty cool temple. I could see there being an entrance there.
Yeah. Well, because my thought behind it was because it was originally like a Sheikah area, like of worship. I figured that and since they were like really close to the royal family or whatever, they'd have their own entrance or whatever.
It makes sense. I'll give it a pass.
Mm-hmm. Just who are these sources of yours? Oh, this has become a meme. This became a meme back when I first published this. Zelda pointed behind Malon. She turned and almost fell over. Standing before her was the tallest, strongest Malon had ever seen.
No, don't lie to the audience. There's no had there. Standing before her was the tallest, strongest Malon ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a second Malon. Who's very tall and strong.
I meant to put the word woman there, and I forgot to put the word woman there.
When I read this, I thought it was time travel shenanigans until you get to the next sentence.
It's just me being an idiot. All right. Zelda walked over to the woman and said, "This is Impa, my bodyguard." Hello. That's Malon, not Impa.
It's like, hello. Oh, Impa's saying hello.
No, Malon's saying hello. It's implied that it would be Impa, considering that Zelda just talked about Impa, but whatever. Okay, sure. Well, Zelda asked, well, what? Are you going to go to the Shadow Temple? Malon considered her options. She could go to the Shadow Temple and face the horrible monstrosities that were sure to lurk within, find the entrance to the Sacred Realm and find Link, or she could just go back to the range and live a peaceful, if boring, life.
difficult choice, to be sure.
Difficult choice, man. I don't know.
Very Greek Odyssey. I'm sensing some undertones of the Greek Odyssey. Very
of course.
tasteful.
As a 12-year-old who had never read the Odyssey, this is definitely my inspiration.
Oh, come on. Making the hero's choice. Do I go do this dangerous journey and save the boy? Or stay here with this super buff version of me and live a peaceful life?
We can be the lesbian couple of the lifetime.
Oh, God.
Alone? Malon asked after a pause. I'll go with you, Impa said. Impa had a low voice that sounded just as tough as she looked. All right, I'll do it.
She's willing to do it. She's willing to go.
Because Impa's going with her, so
well,
it's fine.
Yeah, I'd be reassured if Impa was me. Buff woman.
Mm-hmm. One last thing before you go.
No period.
No period, Zelda said, her cool demeanor faltering a bit. Link gave this to me, but I think he wanted you to had it. Wanted you to had it. Zelda handed Malon Link's bow and quiver, because he can't use the bow and quiver as a kid, so of course he has to give it to Zelda to give to Malon for some reason. Really? Malon felt like crying. This gift made Malon miss Link even more, but even more determined to find him.
Aw, how sweet.
Oh, shut up. Don't make fun of me. As Malon and Impa headed out of Castletown, Malon asked, so where is this Shadow Temple? In Kakariko Village. Dun, dun, dun.
Another ... Yeah.
And I always have the ... endings.
Wow, this is a long one.
Yep, this is the longest chapter. The other two are very short, and that's the end. There's only 3 more chapters left, and then I will say how I was going to finish it.
Yeah, the next chapters are quite short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we might go a little more than an hour, but that's all right.
That's okay. That's already totally breaking our rule in the first
episode.
It's
fine. They can be approximately an hour, usually a little more, probably. It doesn't matter. All right,
so
if you'd like to read the author's note. Yes, go right ahead.
Author's note. So we do have the author's note again. The distinction that this is the author's note.
I finally figured out the formatting for this author's note.
And it is in bold, yes. So upgrades, people. Upgrades. Author's note. Black CT 8991 here. You think I didn't notice, didn't you?
Shit, I didn't even notice. Shit.
Here we are.
Can I just say that I started that way of signing on, of saying hello to everyone, like my username here, back when I wrote little stories using The Sims 2 and the camera in The Sims 2, because you could upload your little stories.
Oh, that's so cute.
I still use it. I still say Hedgehog here. It's
do?
Hedgehog here. I do, so I still use that.
I get why you would do it on your YouTube channel. It helps build recognition. I don't know if it's super useful on fanfiction, where
probably not.
It's all listed under your name already.
I think I had visions of me getting famous off of writing fanfiction and everybody knowing the Black Cat 8991 sign on.
You guys ever heard of the Black CT 8991 sign on?
Shut up.
He's my favorite writer. Right. This is where the action begins. Some of you have had questions or will have questions about the texture forks and such. If you really can't wait for Malon to find out, go to YouTube, proper capitalization of YouTube, points for that, and look up, quote, Legend of Zelda texture force theory, quote. This chapter is a lot longer than my other chapters, so give yourself at least 10 minutes to read it.
Because even back then, I read at a shockingly fast pace.
Who am I to judge? I also read at a shockingly fast pace.
But never faster than my one friend who could read like a whole 300-page book in like 2 days.
No, they were cheating. They just look up the Spark Notes.
Shit, you're right. All right, chapter 4. Okay, I did spell Kakariko Village right here. Because I know there's at least one time where I do not spell it right.
If it's already happened, we missed it. I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah, we might have missed it. I don't know. Kakariko Village was so peaceful. All of the people smiled and said hello. All of the bright buildings. They all said hello.
It's so nice of them.
Yes. All of the bright buildings looked so inviting. It almost reminded Malon of the ranch, except, of course, that there were more people and buildings and less animals. So, like, it's nothing like the ranch.
So, yeah, it's like a city, not a ranch.
Yeah, so it's nothing like the ranch. But nonetheless, the atmosphere was very similar. Malon felt like a kid again as Impa pulled her through the streets. She wanted to see everything and everyone, but of course, Impa had other ideas. Impa thought that they should look and speak to no one and draw as little attention as they could to themselves. She literally had to almost drag Malon through the streets, for Malon seemed to get distracted from getting to their destination very easily. Malon suddenly acts like an entirely different character.
Yeah, Malon's been very focused for the past couple of chapters.
I know. I wanted to have like a weird like manga gag, where they become all chibi and
I
like,
know
one
exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like flailing her little ball arms around.
She's flailing her little. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's not the kind of character I'd written, so I don't know why I wanted to write that.
It does feel very out of place.
Yes. They walked down a dirt path through the village. The buildings were getting further behind them. They came to a sign, and Impa examined it for a moment and continued down the path. Malon glanced at the sign before being jerked violently down the path by her wrist.
Ooh.
The words in the sign took a second to sink in. When they did, Malon gulped. The sign said, "This way to graveyard."
Just graveyard.
Just graveyard, not the graveyard, just graveyard.
It's not named or anything. It's the graveyard. There's only one graveyard.
Yep, there it is.
So we don't need it.
Are we going the right way? Excuse me. Yeah, why? You scared of graveyards? Malon couldn't see her face, but could have sworn Impa was smirking.
My God.
No, just wondering. And also, I don't close this quotation, so the rest of this chapter is Malon talking, apparently.
Oh, God! I hate that.
By the time they came to the graveyard, it was raining. Hard. Malon shivered. She was glad that Link's cloak was wrapped around her. Here, Impa tossed something to Malon. She caught it and realized it was a hook shot, just like the one Link had used. Just for a second, Malon felt a warm embrace. She turned her head to see if there was someone behind her, but then the feeling faded, and Malon started shivering again, but not from the cold.
Ooh.
That's a really weird moment that I explain later, but it's still really weird. It doesn't have the right emotion I wanted it to have. ... I
guess that's Link, if I had to guess.
Oh, really? You think?
It's my intuition.
You think it's Link? Follow my lead. Impa had gone ahead and was at a stone wall at the very back of the graveyard. Malon ran to catch up and skidded to a halt just in time to see Impa use the hook shot to grapple onto a fence at the top of the stone wall. Impa shot up to meet the fence, got a grip, and hauled her up and over the fence. A problem I still have is making action interesting and not just a really bland description of what happens, but it's really bad here.
It can be difficult to describe action.
It's really bad here. I get a little better at it at least, but it's very bad here. Malon tried. The first time she hit the stone wall. The second she hit the fence but didn't get a grip. Malon took a deep breath and aimed carefully. The claw hit the fence and grabbed on. Malon braced herself as she too shot up.
As she too shot up? What does that mean?
I don't know.
I thought it was like her climbing it at first. Did the claw whiz her up?
Yeah, that's how the hook shot works. So you hook onto something and it whizzes you up. I don't know what I was trying to say here though. She got to the claw and it released its grip. Mellon flailed about, scrabbling to get a hold of something. Anything. She caught the fence with one hand and grabbed on with the other.
Wait,
Impa helped her up.
I don't understand what happened in this sentence. She caught the fence with one hand and grabbed on with the other.
So she catches the top of the fence, and then she brings her other arm up and also grabs the fence with her other arm.
Oh, that was not clear.
No, it was not.
I thought she was grabbing onto her own hand with her other hand.
Yeah, no, that's no. Yeah, I can see how you'd think that, though. Funny thing, I'm not really good at writing action at this age because I never actually got this far in a story before. I always wrote the first chapter and then didn't continue, so, Impa helped her up and gestured to a dome-like opening in the cliff face. Together, they walked through the opening and into the darkness within. There seemed to be a set of stairs leading downward, but Malon couldn't see very well and couldn't tell. Whatever was ahead, it did lead downward, but it was so dark that Malon had to run her hand against a wall to find her way. What?
There was a set of stairs leading downwards, but Malon couldn't see them very well. Whatever was ahead, it did lead downwards. These stairs that go down, they really do be going down.
Downwards. They lead down.
They go down.
Yes, very correct. Malon started panicking. She couldn't see and all was quiet as a tomb. Impa! She becomes a fucking dweeb all of a sudden. I'm here. Impa's voice came from just ahead. There was the soft glow of a light still a bit further downward, and as Malon kept walking, the light got bigger and closer. Malon emerged into a dimly lit room with a platform in the middle, which Impa was standing on, and plenty of torches surrounded it. So, I had to, like, for some reason, I had to describe exactly what the Shadow Temple is, like, word for word. Like, I had to make sure it was game accurate for whatever reason.
Oh,
so.
fanfiction writers fall into this trap a lot, where they describe a room or something
too much.
Everybody already knows. And so everyone's like, just get through it.
Impa was facing away from Malon. She muttered something and flames appeared around her, lighting all of the torches. A stone door on the other side of the room slid open. Impa turned to Malon. Are you coming? Yeah. Don't know why I had a moment for them to ask if you're coming, and yeah, but okay.
I mean, you got the quotation marks right this time.
I do have the quotation marks right.
I'm happy, honestly.
Yeah. Impa started walking towards the next room, and Malon had to run to catch up. They found themselves in a maze of hallways. Malon was confused beyond belief, but Impa seemed to know her way completely. She soundlessly led Malon down through the maze until she ran into a wall. Literally ran into a wall.
Nice.
Yeah. Impa had turned where there shouldn't be a turn and walked right through the wall.
Right through it?
Yeah, because in the Shadow Temple, there's a bunch of fake walls, so you need this item called the Lens of Truth in order to see which walls are real or fake.
Okay. You got me.
Yeah. Malon blinked in disbelief, then shook her head and walked towards the wall. She closed her eyes, for she knew she would bonk into it at any moment. Bonk. She kept walking and walking and walking. Malon opened her eyes and saw that she was in another room, and Impa was right in front of her. She had walked straight through the wall. Oh my god, we spent so much time on that. What followed was a series of catacomb-like rooms and fake walls, booby traps, and invisible enemies. Hey guys, can you see where I got my wordiness from? Here's where it starts. This is the start of the wordiness.
You are loving this maze.
Oh, I'm so loving this maze. I'm trying to build atmosphere, but it's not working. What followed was a series of catacomb-like rooms and fake walls, booby traps, and invisible enemies. Malon started shooting arrows at some of the more visible enemies and found that she was getting quite good at it.
Wait, so are the enemies invisible or visible?
Some of them are visible and some of them are invisible.
They're covered in, like, dust or something? Or is that just how it is in the Shadow Temple?
I don't even remember, dude. I don't remember if I just made that up or not.
Okay.
I think there are some that are visible and some that are invisible, but I don't fucking remember.
Also, Malon, cold-blooded killer.
I know, she's just suddenly just a badass out of nowhere. She was a dumb anime girl 1 second ago, and now she is suddenly a badass.
In fairness, this is normally how it goes in anime as well.
Fair enough.
Rapidly switching between the two.
Fair enough. Can you tell I read a lot of manga and watched a lot of anime at this age? Okay, let's see. They came to a room that was simply a platform that dropped off into nothingness. But wait, it wasn't nothing. At least not exactly. It was more like a river of mist. There was the ding of a bell and a fairy rose out of the mist. The deck was level to the ground, and the fairy stopped directly in front of Malon and Impa. Malon glanced at
we needed all of that description.
We certainly did not. We could have just said, a fairy rose out of the mist.
And stopped when it was level with them.
Ta-da. Malon glanced to the side to ask Impa about this fairy, but Impa was already on. All aboard. Malon shrugged her shoulders and came aboard.
Wait, who said all aboard?
Yeah.
Was it Impa or like the ferryman or
Malon?
Oh,
it was Impa who said all aboard.
Oh, yeah, you don't have any description
I do not have any descriptions there. Malon shrugged her shoulders and came aboard. There was a Triforce symbol engraved in the wood of the deck.
Also, I thought it was the Tetraforce. Why are we back to the Triforce?
Now we're going back to the Triforce. I don't know. It's because it's the Shadow Temple. Nobody knows about the Tetraforce. I don't fucking know. I don't know what my logic is at this point. Impa stood on top of it and took out an instrument. Malon took a closer look and realized it was an ocarina. Impa held it up to her mouth and played a tune. The music sent shivers at Malon's spine. When it ended, Malon felt herself wanting more, to be locked into this song's warm embrace. There is no apostrophe in the song. Yeah. The though, however, that's supposed to be thought. The though, however, probably some of the reasons for some of the errors, which I still have this problem to this day. I don't cut my fingernails often enough. My fingernails grow really long, so they get really long, and then I can't type really well. And that's usually what I.
Oh my god, I have this exact same problem. I drink so much milk. I love milk, and my fingernails grow. I have to cut them every week.
It's not quite that often. It's probably every other week for me, but they grow really long and then I don't type very well and I have to cut them, but I forget to cut them. And I didn't know at this point that was causing me to not type well. So anyway, the though, however, was ripped from her mind as the fairy started moving. It moved pretty slowly and Malon had a question that came to mind. Impa, why is there an entrance to the Sacred Realm in the Shadow Temple? Wow, that would have been great to ask earlier.
Impa looked at her funny. What do you mean? Why are you asking now?
Why now, of all times? Impa took a deep breath. My ancestors, the Sheikah, were loyal servants of the the Hylian royal family. Sure.
Ooh.
At least for the most part. There were, some of us who wanted to use dark magic for their own purposes.
Wrong there.
Again, none of the theirs are correct in this book. They built the Shadow Temple as a place of worship and as a torture chamber for people who didn't agree with them.
Oh, hell yeah.
They started calling themselves Dark Interlopers. So
no closing quotation mark.
Well, that's supposed to be because she continues on in the next paragraph. That's actually how you.
But then you have an opening quotation mark in the next paragraph.
Yep, that's how you format it.
Is it? That's awful.
Yes, that is correct.
I want to hit whoever came up with that idea.
I looked it up. That's correct. So, fun fact about the Dark Interlopers. This is also a theory that I just included and I didn't say. But the Dark Interlopers are characters from Twilight Princess, and people found some similarities between the Twilight and the Sheikah in Ocarina of Time. So they thought, oh, maybe the people who had the Shadow Temple were the Dark Interlopers. But anyway. The Dark Interlopers had wanted for a long time to infiltrate the Sacred Realm, but they knew that the only known entrance was in the Temple of Time, and the only person who could get there was a hero. Of course, none of them were heroes. At the time, their magic was so great that they were capable of creating their own entrance, and they did. Malon was about to reply, but the fairy started sinking. Impa, should we get off? No, let it take us where it wants us. So that's the thing. So that's where this differs, because in the game you have to get off, because otherwise the fairy will sink and you die.
And you'd freaking die.
Yeah, you friggin' die. So, this is where the secret entrance to the Sacred Realm is hidden. You just stay on the ferry.
I could see it. It's like, it's like the playground rumors. It's like, oh, did you hear in Ocarina of Time that if you stay on the ferry as it sinks, you get to go to the Sacred Realm? You get to go to the secret area where all the music plays backwards and there's all these graphical glitches. And Link has bloody realistic eyes.
And Dead Hand is there, but he's even more covered in blood than he already is in the game. Spoiler alert, sorry.
And Squidward is there.
Squidward is there. All right. The ferry sunk below the Mist River, down to a lower level. Oh no, Impa said. Malon's eyes widened as she saw a circle of white, ghostly arms, and on each of those arms were hands. Hands covered in blood. This is actually a creature from the game. It's Dead Hand. Dead Hand is fucking horrifying.
Isn't there a hand that comes out of the toilet or something?
That's in Majora's Mask. Oh. That one's Majora's Mask. This one is a mini boss that you fight as a child called Dead Hand. It's covered in blood, and it's this weird amorphous. Look it up if you want to see it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. Like, holy
Classic
shit!
Nintendo.
Oh yeah. What is that? Malon could hardly breathe. She was so scared. It's a dead hand. They feed on the souls of the living. Don't let it touch you. They landed on the floor with a circle of hands just a few feet away from them. As soon as they touched the floor, a mound of earth in the corner exploded upward, and a white, bulbous thing of flesh slid towards them.
Slid.
Sure, I couldn't decide how I wanted that sentence to go. It, like the hands, was covered in blood. Hey, Miceman, did you know the hands were covered in blood?
I had not picked that up.
Okay. Just in case you were.
Well, I was thinking this thing was really cute and cuddly up to now.
Oh yeah.
But now that I know it's covered in blood,
it's not cute and cuddly. Impa started throwing, rocks, knives, and whatever she could get her hands on.
Normally, there's a third thing there, Hedgehog.
I know. It left Malon alone and went for Impa, but no matter how much she threw at it, it kept coming. Because, of course, Impa has hardly any weapons. She's this big, strong Sheikah, and she can't defeat this fucking thing.
Impa's gonna wrestle this thing to the ground.
Oh, yeah, she could.
She's gonna take it on mano a mano.
Malon remembered Link's bow and cocked an arrow. The first missed completely, and the dead hand had pushed Impa up against the wall, and it was still coming.
Wait, how's it still coming if it pushed her against the wall?
It's like gonna run into her. It's just gonna, like, bop into her.
So confused on the action.
I think what I'm implying is that Impa is backing up because the thing is coming towards her, but now Impa is against the wall and the thing is still coming towards her.
Oh. I have this almost exact same thing happen in one of my short stories. I think you read it once. It was the thing in the garage.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I had my character pushed up against the wall while a creature was coming at it.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty common.
I'm not sure where I was going with this. I described it better than you, is what I'm trying to say. I think I'm better than you.
Thank you, my man, for making it clear that you are, in fact, better than me at age 12. Well done. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Suck it, age 12 Hedgehog.
All right. Malon's second arrow lodged itself in the creature's shoulder just as it touched Impa. She let out the most terrible scream, like she was in pain. Hey, do you think she's in pain?
What's the creature doing to her? You haven't said it.
It's just touching her.
It's feeling her.
It's touching her.
It made an unwanted advance.
Yes.
Grabbed her butt.
It grabbed her butt and she screamed. Meanwhile, the dead hand had started to come from Malon. She knew she could reach Impa before it got to her, but as she did, she brushed against the creature. Malon crumbled to the floor. She felt all of the hope and light in her life drain from her completely. This is not what it does in the game. I don't know why I had to do this. I wanted it to be even more terrifying. Yeah. But somehow managed to crawl over to Impa, who wasn't moving. The dead hand was now upon them. Malon was crying, but then she saw something out of the corner of her eye. It was a small figure across the room, clothed in green. Green? Link! How the fuck is he here?
Whoa.
I never explain it! The dead hand was mere feet from Malon when Link shouted something to her. Shoot it! I knew you could do it! I believe in you! God, that's terrible!
You blew a kiss.
I blew a kiss. Mwah. Then Mellon felt something she thought she'd never feel again. In the 2 seconds she hasn't felt it.
This thing's a Dementor, basically.
Yeah. She cocked an arrow and shot just as it lowered its grinning face. Malon heard the most ghastly scream. It filled her head and Malon thought she was going to die. Then the scream was gone and the world was black. She did die. The story's over.
The end. All right, well, thanks for listening, everyone. No.
Thanks for listening. It's done. No, it's not. Unfortunately. Dot. So now we have another scene. I actually have another scene. It's not just gone to.
It's like, you can tell this is like a different section of the story because it's more separated from the rest.
Yeah. Well, mostly I just learned really fast. Like, I didn't write anything in between this chapter and the previous chapter. I think I wrote this one, probably 2 weeks after the first chapter. I just learned really quickly.
I'm impressed.
Because I was reading a lot of stuff, yeah. Well, this was when my writing was improving really, really rapidly.
Well, it's like the initial upward trend, for sure.
Until you get to the plateau, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's where I've been ever since.
Yeah. It was, suddenly we cut over to Link in Majora's Mask, which I don't explain that he's in Majora's Mask. I just say another cycle and expect you to know that. It was the end of another cycle for Link, and he was falling through the whiteness, past the clocks that never stopped ticking. He'd almost not been able to do it this time. Turn back the hands of time. Yes. Link couldn't bear to think of all the people he couldn't save this cycle, and especially of Romani, forced to fend for herself against the creatures that attacked their ranch on the second night. Plus, she reminded him of someone because
I wonder
Romani
who.
Romani
Probably
uses
Zelda.
Malon's model. Probably Zelda. Absolutely Zelda. Link expected to find himself in the clock tower, but when he looked around, the world was strangely dark. From what he could make out, he was in Kakariko Village's graveyard. Was he dreaming? When he looked down at himself, he saw that he was grown up, because I thought it'd be weird if a small boy hugged Malon, but I don't know why he's here, I don't know why he's grown up, I never explained it, I just thought it'd be cute.
That would be awkward. And I could see a lesser fanfiction writer not thinking of that.
Oh, of course. But the thought was erased from his mind when he looked in front of him. There was Malon. Not dark like the rest of the world, like she was in a spotlight.
Hallelujah.
Malon was holding something, and her thoughts came to Link. Distant and echoic. Echoic. What? That's not a word. I made that up.
It's a good word. People should use it more.
I'm going to use it now, actually.
It's like Shakespeare.
Yeah, I can still feel his arms wrapped around me. Link came up behind her and put his arms around her middle and embraced her. For no reason, he just does it.
Because he missed her.
Whatever.
Because he loves her.
He loves her. It wasn't a hard embrace, and it certainly wasn't gentle, but it was an embrace nonetheless. It was just a regular old fucking embrace. I didn't have to say this.
Normal amount of pressure.
It's a normal amount of pressure for an embrace. Link closed his eyes, savoring this moment. He had made up his mind. What? I didn't know he had his mind to make up.
What's the question? I don't understand.
I think the question is whether I love Link or whether I love Zelda or Malon, but I never fucking even say that or anything like that.
You're just supposed to infer this.
I know. When he opened his eyes, Malon was turning her head in slow motion to see who was behind her. Link leaned to the side and smiled as if to tell her that everything was okay, that he was here. But just before she saw him, it was gone. The strangely darkened world, the graveyard, and Malon. Link was a kid again. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?
Whoa!
Whoa, it's the mask salesman. You gotta drop the line, because of course I have to drop the line.
I mean,
because
it's
now it
the
has a whole
line.
different meaning. Ha ha ha.
Very astute young hedgehog.
Thank you. She was so proud of that. You don't understand. She was so proud of that. She thought that was the epitome of cool.
I mean,
was that she dropped the line.
It's not bad. To be fair,
it's
a decent job of connecting them together.
All right. Anyway,
so is Malon a kid again?
No, Malon is not a kid again.
And why is she turning her head in slow motion? Did I miss something?
So that was during the graveyard when she thought there was someone behind her and she felt a warm embrace.
Oh!
I didn't ever say that she turned her head. I just say it here.
Oh, this is in the past of the story. This is when the hug happened. I thought this was the part where he appeared to her when she was fighting the...
No, that happens right here in chapter 5 instead.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. Maybe not. It might not be here.
So don't worry, guys.
No, this doesn't happen here either. I don't know.
That was a long chapter, but the chapters start to get shorter after this.
Yep, there's only 2 more as well. So.
Author's note. Hey, everyone. It's been a while. I've been very busy, so it's hard to find time to write.
I was not busy. I just was burnt out after the last chapter. I was literally doing nothing.
I know
12.
that feeling. I feel like one of those manga artists who are always complaining about a busy schedule. Ha ha ha. Well, anyway, on with the story.
Thank you for reading these so I don't have to.
You didn't... sorry, go ahead.
This is the most cringy thing about the story. Not the story, it's the fucking author's notes.
You didn't say I couldn't think of anything to say this time.
I didn't.
I guess
I actually found something to say. Yay! All right, chapter 5. So now, for some reason, this chapter is all about Link. It's not about Malon at all. I don't know why I have this chapter.
We've switched perspectives. It's going to take the readers by surprise.
Suddenly, we've switched perspectives, even though we did that at the end of the last chapter. Instead of just having all one chapter about Link, we have a chapter and a bit about Link for some reason.
It's to help them adjust, you see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like boiling a frog.
Of course. Link sighed and laid his head back on the pillow of the bed in the stockpot inn. 1 day down, 2 to go, and only 1 more mask to collect, 1 giant to find. Before he went to sleep, he looked up in the rafters and saw that Tattle had made a makeshift bed on a bit of fluff from Link's pillow. "Good night, Link," Tattle yawned, but Link didn't hear her, for he was already fast asleep. ... And then there's another set of ... to indicate a scene change.
Wow. Yes, we got 6 ... in a row.
There are many dots. Many dots. There's like a 10-minute pause at least.
Actually, it's 7 dots. Sorry, the scene transition one has 4.
Mm-hmm. All right. Link was dreaming. Well, not exactly, for it wasn't his dream. I don't know how he knows that. He was watching it, only an observer, not participating. It was like a picture on the wall, only it moved, and the wall it was hanging on, and the rest of the space for that matter, was black and endless.
Wow.
But What?
You just went really in depth on this.
I did. I had a very clear image in my mind.
I mean,
it was a very dumb image, but I had it.
I understand exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
It's like a projection in space.
Yeah. I could have just said a projection in space, but I didn't say that. But it wasn't. Yes, but it wasn't the space that mesmerized Link. This had happened before, and I never go through it. And I think I was intending to explain this, but then I never did, and I can't remember what the explanation was. It was what was in the dream itself. Link realized whose dream it was. It was Malon's. The content of the dream revealed it all. ... So this is basically a bigger version of the scene that happens in the manga that I just rip off. I mean, not rip off because it's fan fiction, but I just retell it. In the dream, Link had an arm wrapped around Malon's waist, and the other was pointed to the roof of the barn, holding a hook shot. Both Link and Mellon were propelled up to the top of the barn, the Gerudo fast on their heels. They had a moment of reprieve on the barn, and both used it to catch their breath. Then the moment was gone, as swiftly as the wind. The Gerudo were climbing up the walls of the barn, closing Link and Malon in. They faced back to back as they watched the Gerudo climbing towards them on all sides. The first two clambered up, and Link drew his sword. He tried to defend both him and Malon, but the Gerudo were just too numerous. 3 Gerudo, I say Gerudo a lot these sentences.
A lot of Gerudos.
A lot of Gerudos. They were ganging up on Malon. She took a deep breath and, clenching her fist, punched her attacker in the face, because
nice.
Malon takes action. She's not Zelda. She doesn't get kidnapped.
It's like how in Super Mario Party, when Bowser tries to kidnap Daisy, she just like kicks him.
Yeah! Not expecting this, the Gerudo warrior lost her balance and tumbled off the roof, landing with a hard thump on the ground. The second Gerudo was prepared, however, so Malon swept her feet out from under her with a quick sweep of her leg. Same with the third. This happened in a matter of seconds, because she's suddenly a badass again.
She's very badass.
Link had fought...
No, sorry,
what was it?
I was just going to say, well, it's the anime thing again.
Oh,
switching between them.
Link had fought his fair share of Gerudo as well, and when he turned around, he saw a panting but smiling Malon. Link raised his eyebrows, but said nothing about it. About what?
About it!
I think about her badassery, but I don't explain that.
He's intimidated, so he doesn't want to... He's scared of strong women.
Explain! What do you mean, it, me? Alright, meanwhile, Ingo was on the ground, jumping up and down in fury. What happened here? Where's Talon? Link turned back to Malon. When Ganondorf took over, she replied, Ingo kicked Talon out and took the ranch for himself. There was a flash at the other end of the barn, and Link and Malon were blinded for a second. Malon recovered first. Link, who's that? Indeed, there was someone standing on the edge of the roof. He had a cloth wrapped around his face, a symbol of an eye and a teardrop printed on his chest, and a harp in his hands. His name was Sheik.
He did not say this. They just know this.
Yes, they just know this. Sheik was very straightforward and to the point. You could have just kept him talking, and then you would have known that he was straightforward and to the point. Anyway, Link, Ingo has been brainwashed by two of Ganondorf's minions, the twin Rova. I did not make this up. This does happen in the manga, and it's a little bit cheesy. It's a little bit cheesy, but it does happen in the manga. Sheik backed up, even closer to the roof's edge. The key to Ingo's possession is a jewel inside his ear. There was a crack, and Link was blinded again. When his vision cleared, Sheik was gone. By this time, Ingo had found a hookshot and shot up to meet them. Armed with a crossbow, Ingo snickered, but before he could do anything, Link rushed towards him. Ingo held up his hands to protect himself, but all Link did was flick a jewel away from Ingo's ear. Caught off guard, Ingo flailed around for a moment before tumbling off of the roof. He lay on the ground, moaning.
Wouldn't Ingo know this, right?
I don't know. It's never actually explained in the manga either.
Well, it's just like if Ingo is being controlled through the jewel in their ear... the twin Rova would be like, we gotta protect the jewel.
One would think, but it's very easy. It just happens. I don't know, dude. That's not even me.
It just works.
It just works. Yeah, okay. Shot up to meet them. Armed with the crossbow. Yep, okay, Link rushed towards him. Ingo held up his hands to protect himself, but all Link did... Okay, yes, I've read all this. He lay on the ground, moaning. Link and Malon realized that they had been clinging onto each other. They broke apart. Malon faced Link and said, You just saved my life. She leaned in and kissed him.
Whoa.
Link was surprised to find himself kissing back. I can't remember if this happens in the manga. I might have added this in.
Somehow I doubt this happens in the manga.
I think I added this in. Link was surprised to find himself kissing back, but then he realized what he was doing and broke away. The dream skipped ahead.
Why is this
saddling
bad?
up Epona. What?
Why is he not allowed to kiss her? I'm not super
because he likes Zelda.
Oh, does he?
He likes Zelda, he thinks.
God, love triangles, man.
I know, right? The dream skipped ahead. Link was saddling up Epona. You're leaving? Yes. I wish you would stay. I would, but I have to find Zelda.
Oh, callbacks.
Yeah, I know, Link said, trying to convince himself. Malon's voice cut through the dream. Does he regret leaving? Yes, Malon, yes! Link wanted to scream, but he knew she couldn't hear him. And then there's a dot, and the scene fucking changes.
Love is lost and lost and loved.
I was 12. I was just discovering crushes.
This is about on par of my level of romantic writing nowadays. So
fair enough. Link woke with a start. Tattle bumped her head against the ceiling. What? What is it? Nothing, Tattle. Just a dream. I'd like to think that my romance is better, but I still have romances between 18-year-old girls and vampires, so, you know.
Romancing, I tend to not touch it because it scares me.
I did for a long time. This was the first thing I ever did with any kind of romance in it, and I stayed away from a lot of it. I mostly focused on Malon finding Link because I didn't want to actually, write a proper romance.
Because it's so easy to screw up a romance.
Oh yeah, and I didn't touch it for years. I only finally did. When was the first time I actually wrote something romantic? I think, God, was it in Theone? Fuck, it might have been. Cause no, I wrote I guess some minor romantic stuff when I did a attempt of a screenplay based on Portal.
So in my fanfiction we were originally going to read for next episode, but we're not reading because Hedgehog deemed it too competent.
It's too competent. It's not bad enough.
Quote unquote. It was a romance, and it was my first attempt at doing a romance. So, but you'll never know, viewers. You'll never get to hear it.
You might someday if people demand it. If people listen to this and they
I'll give
demand
you a little
that we
hint.
read.
It's a Boku no Hero academia fanfiction, if you can believe it.
Ooh, is it between Bakugo and what's the fucking guy he's always shipped with, the red guy?
Red guy? Oh, Kirishima?
Yeah, Kirishima.
No, I hate that ship. I hate Bakugo.
Why do you
Come at me, My Hero Academia fans. He's awful.
I love his voice acting, though. He's fun.
His voice acting is pretty good, though.
Anyway, chapter 6, the last chapter. We're almost done, guys. I promise.
Author's note. Welcome back. I won't dwaddle off of Malon's story. Malon!
I said the name enough.
I know. Sorry, I was stuck on the word dwaddle.
It's dawdle. That's a word.
Oh, dawdle? Oh, Jesus
dawdle.
Christ. This is what happens. I spent so long in my childhood just reading and not, like, speaking the words out loud.
Same.
So my pronunciation of them is all screwed up.
Right. Same. I pronounced colonel as colonel for so long.
That's an understandable thing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone does that the first time.
Yeah.
I won't... how is it pronounced again? Sorry.
Dawdle.
I won't dawdle off of Malon's story for any longer. Oh, and by the way, you should check out my new story, Legend of Zelda, the 100 Themes Challenge. Will we be checking that out, Hedgehog?
No, we will not be. I wrote like 30 of the goddamn things. I only ever posted, I think, like 2 of them. Well, because have you heard of 100 Themes Challenge?
It's like 100 different themes, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it's actually quite fun. It was originally for the Hunger Games. They just give you like 100 different themes, like love, light, darkness, yada yada, and you just write a little thing about it. So I've done it before. Yeah, it's actually quite fun. I did like 30 of them for this, but then again, this is when I was writing very short things. So like each of these were only like a notebook page long. And then I tried several times later on, and each of them got progressively longer, and I got less and less far every time because my stories were longer. But anyway, chapter 6, the last chapter, and then I'll explain where the story was going. So,
well, there is one more chapter after this.
That's just the hiatus notice.
It's one... Well, we have to read it. We have to cover it all.
We'll read it. All right. The world was black, but then consciousness returned in a burst of light. Wow! Malon opened her eyes. She looked around. Where am I? She thought.
No, it's where am I?
Oh, sorry. Where am I? Which is the most awkward place to put a stumble. The grubby brown walls were lit up with a strange glow.
WHERE for all you folks at home.
Then she saw the dead hand. It was now merely a rotting pile of flesh with flies buzzing around.
Rotted fast.
Malon was sitting. She tried to scuttle back against the wall, but found that she was already against it. Facepalm.
Her nose rammed into the wall. Ah!
Oh, yeah.
Malon yelled.
Then Malon realized why she was here. She was battling that thing and Impa was unconscious. And then, no, he couldn't have, could he? But maybe Malon's eyes hadn't fooled her. Maybe Link had been in the Shadow Temple. But if that was the case, where was he now? And come to think of it, the figure had been smaller than Link was, like a child. Malon gasped. Malon gasped. Where was Impa? Impa? Malon called, her voice reverberating on the walls. There was no answer. Finally, Malon realized where the light was coming from. There was a hole in the ceiling. An unearthly glow came from it, pouring down onto the walls, creeping silently on the floor. Suddenly, a dark shape fell through the hole. Instinctively, Malon drew her bow and pointed it at the shape, but then it was an inch from her face, and Malon realized that it was Impa, with a worried expression on her face.
Oh, damn.
Thanks. You woke up. Good. Follow me.
Could have just brought her along.
I could have, but whatever.
Instead of next to the rotting monster.
Rotting fucking dead hand over there in the corner. Okay. Impa led Malon through the chamber, and they used their hook shots. I used their correct.
Right there, yes.
Yay!
Credit where credit is due.
They used their hook shots to fly through the hole. As Malon pulled herself through the hole with a little bit of difficulty, she saw that the chamber above the hole. I feel like this is a Freudian slip here.
This is a lot of holes.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not trying to judge or anything.
It's a lot of holes.
A lot of holes.
It looked nothing like the rest of the Shadow Temple. There were no catacombs, no creepy statues, and no torture devices. In fact, this room was the exact opposite. The walls shone with crystals that were bright as stars. All of the crystals were so bright because in the center of the room there was a bright white light. There's a lot of brights in this paragraph
The crystals are bright because the light is bright and white.
And the light's bright because it's bright. It was so bright that Malon couldn't see what it was until she got closer. I do this again in like a couple paragraphs, I think. It was a locket. The light was shining from its very center, like there was something powerful inside. Malon reached out a hand to touch it, but Impa slapped it away. Not yet. This is the entrance to the sacred realm, but you must listen to me, carefully first. I'm listening. When you open the locket, you will be sent to the sacred realm. When you get there, tell the first person you see that you're looking for the Tetraforce, and they'll do the rest.
Not the Triforce.
Not the Triforce, the Tetraforce. But Impa, what is the Tetraforce? Soon all of your questions will be answered, but not by me. Okay. Malon approached the shining locket. It burned with a light that was nothing of this earth. Slowly, Malon reached out a hand to grab the locket. When she touched it, an innermost fire burned within her, and she felt strength course through her veins. She started shaking, but somehow managed to open the clasp which contained whatever was inside the locket. It was simply a light of the purest white. Malon had never seen anything like it. As she stared closer still, the world seemed to fade around her until nothing was left but whiteness. Malon was falling through the white, everything of white.
Everything's
falling
white.
Through the whiteness that never ended, and soon the white started to turn into blue. Malon landed on her back with a thump, and realized that the blue above her was the sky. It was so clear, so free of clouds that Malon wanted to gaze at it forever. But, with effort, she pushed herself up. Her hands felt coarse grass beneath her, and as Malon stood up, she saw that she was in a field with nothing but grass as far as the eye could see. Impa had said that there were people here, and Malon assumed that they must be close by, so she started walking. For an hour she walked without seeing... So keep in mind, the Sacred Realm is supposed to be kind of a metaphor, I think, more than an actual place.
Oh, I was thinking of, like, the Windows 95 background.
There you go, yeah, But in the game, the Sacred Realm is kind of more of an idea than, like, an actual place. Like, we never get to see it. It's only, like, ever expressed as, like, a light. It's described as a land, but, like, I don't think it actually is a land. Here I make it an actual fucking land.
It's a place you can go.
It's a place you can go to, apparently. For an hour she walked without seeing any sign of human existence. Finally, she saw smoke rising from the field, and as she got closer, Malon realized that the smoke came from a chimney. She reached a house, and a woman came out. She was wearing a dirty apron and a slightly ripped dress. How did you get here? The woman asked.
No period.
No period. I walked through the field. What do you see out there? Nothing. It's just a field. No period. The woman's eyes widened. I'm looking for the Tetraforce. Do you know where I could find it? The woman just stared at her in stunned silence.
And scene.
And that is the last I wrote of Malon's
That's
journey,
all you
except
get.
for this hiatus.
All right, yeah,
I
want to read the hiatus?
You go ahead and read the hiatus.
But it doesn't say author's note, and it's not in bold, so how do I know what's the author's note?
It's just the story. It's part of the story.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about
it. This is the woman saying this.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. I'm just letting you know that I'm taking a short hiatus from Malon's journey to work on my other story, Legend of Zelda, The 100 Themes Challenge. While you're waiting, you can check it out. Thank you. And just so no one freaks out, this story will be completed. I'm just taking a break.
And that I
Last updated September 5th, 2012.
Yay!
Sorry, 22 commenters. You're not getting anything.
Fuck you. Okay, I actually did get quite a few positive comments.
I know, I was looking through
story,
some of the comments, and they were pretty nice.
Yeah, most of them were pretty nice. So I guess let me briefly explain where I was going with this story. I can tell you how Malon's journey officially ends, kind of, from what I remember. This was
hit me.
Like 10 years ago. So Malon goes to the Sacred Realm. I think what happened was she went to a temple that looked like the Temple of Time in the Sacred Realm. She meets a little boy who's the kid, or at least the woman's taking care of him. And she learns that in the Sacred Realm are people who have already died and people who have not been born yet. So she goes to this temple and she realizes that she had the Tetraforce all along. So she's able to travel to Termina with this new power.
Maybe the real Tetraforce is the friends we make along the way.
So she's able to travel to Termina with the newfound power she's gained from awakening the Tetraforce or whatever. And the little boy helped her out in some way. I can't remember. And that's the prologue, is the little boy on the fence. So she's in the Sacred Realm. Yep. So with the lightning strike, she travels to Termina. And basically what happens from then is it's just the climax of the Majora's Mask manga, which I hadn't played Majora's Mask. I didn't even ever seen Majora's Mask. I just read the manga on it, and it's all based on the manga specifically. But she's just there for the climax of Majora's Mask. She just helps Link defeat Majora, and then somehow she's able to bring them back to her timeline, and of course Link grows back up into a man because they're in that timeline again, and they live happily ever after.
Yeah, don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, and then they get married, and then eventually they have a kid, and the kid is the kid she met in the Sacred Realm.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. You had a plan.
I had a plan. I knew exactly where the story was going.
I'll give you credit. A lot of fan fiction writers do not think it through when they're writing it, but you did.
This is a pretty short story for me. I think if I completed it, probably only would have been 10,000 words long. But
you had a plan.
I had a plan, and I didn't execute it.
Did not finish it.
Nope.
But you got about halfway.
Yeah. But anyway, that was mine.
Next episode, we will be reading mine.
Next episode, we'll be reading the SCPs.
Yes, we will be reading the SCPs.
Mice Man. So now, Mice Man, if anybody asks you, where are the SCPs? You can tell them they're right here in the podcast.
We probably will not be covering them all because there is a much higher amount than I thought there were.
We'll cover the main ones at least. The main ones at least. And they won't take very long to read. They're all pretty short.
And then maybe we'll touch on the story. One of the stories.
We have to do the stories. That's the important part.
God.
The stories are the important part.
We should probably be saving this for the next episode.
Okay, anyway.
Thank you all.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this. And I guess we will see you next time for Mice Man.
We will see you next time.
Farewell.
We should probably come up with an outro or something for this.
Yeah, I'll add some royalty-free music here.
This is where the nice generic guitar music comes in.
Of course.
I repeat, do not hide a Five Nights at Freddy's scream in there somewhere.
So you're daring me to hide a Five Nights at Freddy's scream in there?
See, no, I said the word not, so I'm not daring you to do that.
That sounds like a challenge, Royce fan.
Wink, wink.
That sounds like a challenge. All right, everybody. See you later.
Thank you all for listening. Bye.